Welcome to back to Coast Vue, and thank you for joining us today. I've really enjoyed that conversation. I have had this constant theme on Coast Vue for now several weeks about spending your money locally. People are going to use Amazon. We know that box is going to show up at their doors. But what we're trying to do is get people to think a little bit more about why they should spend more of their hard-earned dollars locally. One of the points that a friend of mine said on the show recently that I think made a really a big impression is that when Amazon first opened up, they were really known for their very low prices. But over time, what has happened? They have tacked more fees and more costs. And so what you find on Amazon is not always the cheapest approach. And that's another reason to think about spending your money locally. But as I said many times, when you spend your money locally, you're casting the vote for the kind of community you want to have. And Coast of Mississippi is a collection of unique communities, each with its own special sense of place. And oftentimes it's the merchants that are creating that sense of place. I've been talking to my chamber friends now for several days, several weeks actually, about this conversation. And I've asked them to help me find local merchants who can tell their story so we can remind people how important it is that they do well this time of year. So without any further ado, I want to invite my friend Stephanie Paoletti, who is the owner of Sweet Enchantments in Ocean Springs, to join me. And first of all, just say good morning. How are you doing?
Yes, good morning. We're good. It smells like gingerbread in here, so it's a good
Smells
day.
like gingerbread. Well, look, we're going to tell your story. Your husband's from here. You moved back here in 2017. Do I remember that right?
Yes.
And from Florida, incidentally. And but we'll tell that story. But first, what is Sweet Enchantments? Tell us about that.
So Sweet Enchantments was kind of a mistake that turned into something special. We started this company back in Florida in 2015. I was a culinary instructor at Virginia College at the time and had my firstborn, and I was really just missing cakes and going stir crazy at home. So I needed an at-home business, and Sweet Enchantments was just one of those where we sat up for a couple hours and went through different names and wanted it to encompass everything, not just cakes, and the name just stuck. So once we moved over here, coming from South Florida, I saw that a bunch of people did cakes, and there's a ton more people in the industry. So coming over here, I saw that there was a little bit of a need. So that name that was supposed to kind of fizzle out at that point became relevant when we moved over here.
Cool. And you're located on Thorn Avenue in Ocean Springs.
Yes.
And how's business?
Business is good. So it's starting to really pick up. We had a little bit of a slow start, of course, coming into the season, but now that we're rolling into the holiday season and we're getting all of our people coming in for pies and cookies and gifts for clients, we're seeing that big spike.
Okay, so tell me about your offerings. What if you came to Sweet Enchantments, what would you see?
So one of our main offerings is cakes. We like to have grab and go cakes on hand. This way that people can just stop in on the way home if they were thinking of a birthday, an anniversary, going to a party, something like that they would have it available. Other than that, we do a lot of macaroons. We make all of our macaroons in-house. We have cookie sandwiches. We make homemade marshmallows. We make our own ice cream, coffee creamers, hot chocolate bombs. I mean, everything. And we dabble in the savory. So we do have some breakfast items on hand that we make as well.
So, doing business in Ocean Springs, that's special in and of itself, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It definitely is.
So, okay, so let's take a step back. You said you actually were a teacher of culinary arts?
Yes, I was in Jacksonville, Florida.
And where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from Boynton Beach, Florida, just south of West Palm.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So, like activities going on around you, I can tell.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
That's no problem at all. That's part of the authenticity of the show. But how did you get into the culinary arts arena?
That was another mistake that kind of fell into my lap. But I grew up in the kitchen. My parents both love cooking. My mom's from Tennessee. My dad's background is Italian. So we were always cooking, always in the kitchen. But as I went through school, I wanted to go to architecture, and I did start that journey. And I was about halfway through a semester in Gainesville, and I just decided I didn't want to do it anymore. So I upset my parents very much and told them that I was quitting architecture school. And they said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I went and I visited a culinary school in Jacksonville. And they were like, okay. And what does that mean? And so I just literally dropped everything, packed up the world, and left for Jacksonville. Started culinary school there at the Art Institute. And then from there, I fell in love with it. I didn't even think I wanted to go into baking. It just kind of happened. And I stuck with it.
Well, that's interesting. Were you ever a chef?
So yes and no. I did start in that culinary realm, but I quickly found the need and the gap for pastry where I was at. I was working for Marriott in Fort Lauderdale, and as I was there was an opening for pastry chef, and for any chef position in a resort or a hotel, you have to basically audition for it. So I went through that process, and I tried it, and I did well and got the job and never looked back. So
it's interesting. Is being a pastry chef something that is part of your soul? Is it something that you just kind of dedicate your life to? Is it something you have to have a passion for? Talk about that.
All the above. So having a passion for it is definitely step one. I mean, I enjoy everything I do. I enjoy every day I come in. Everybody says, if you love what you do, you never work another day. And I think it really stands true to something like this. Being surrounded by sugar and good smelling stuff all day, I can't really go wrong. So I do absolutely love that. I have the passion for it. And kind of the positive reassurance, especially from the community in the area, for them to come in and say, thank you, and this is different, and your buttercream's different, and we love this and love that everything changes based on the seasons. Those things really keep the fuel going.
Are you constantly experimenting?
Yes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, we're constantly experimenting, and we have a catering business on the side as well. I say on the side, that's more of our bread and butter, to be honest. And with that, we've created relationships with our vendors and with our farmers in the area. So we get our list every single week. If they're getting fresh satsumas, right now we're getting Meyer lemons. If we're getting fresh anything out of the ground, we try and take that and evolve with that. Change our macaroon flavors, change our cake flavors, try and add something that we didn't have before. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But baking is science, so it's really fun.
Yeah, right. So tell me about a time when you were doing an experiment and it turned out so well, you said, I've created a competitive advantage.
Well, I will say we've been, for the past 3 years, very successful with our king cake cheesecakes. And coming from South Florida, I did not grow up with Mardi Gras or king cakes. I had no clue what it was. And I came here and I tried it, and not a fan. But as soon as you top it with brown sugar cheesecake and add a little bit of streusel and cream cheese icing, then, that was a home run for me. So we've been doing that for a couple of years now, and people absolutely love it. So definitely did not expect that with my first go around at the king cake business.
That's so interesting. I mean, literally the first time, and not having that history. I was the publisher of the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com and president of NOLA Media Group over in New Orleans. So you can imagine the number of king cakes that came into our organization were very significant.
Yes.
I tended to like the ones that were moist. Right. I didn't like the dry, those that tended toward the dry side.
That's why
cheesecake was very popular.
Right.
So, isn't it interesting to hit the first time and to get so much positive feedback? And then you learn that through Mardi Gras and what that brings to you in terms of a business opportunity, Man, you hit it big in that arena, the king cake arena during the Mardi Gras season, and it can really add a bump in your business, can it?
Yeah, I had no clue really what that meant to the coast until coming here and becoming, culturally involved with it. I always had the mindset of you had Christmas and Christmas pastries, and then you jumped to Valentine's Day. Like that was always our big jump in South Florida. So to be able to come over here and have an extra holiday was insane.
Well, we're having a conversation with Stephanie Paoletti, who owns Sweet Enchantments in Ocean Springs. We just wanted to kind of dive deeper into a local merchant that's doing cool things and let you get to know the personality behind that business and see why it's so important for us to cast our vote with our hard-earned dollars and spend money locally. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Sweet Enchantments, and I want to know about your catering business. We might as well chat about that a little bit while we're at it. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to Coast Vue. I'm having a terrific conversation with my new friend, Stephanie Paoletti. I can't wait to go visit her shop, Sweet Enchantments, in Ocean Springs. They have all kinds of amazing cakes and sweets and pastries, and you name it, they have it. Tell me about your family.
Yeah, so we're a nice, quaint family of 4, plus a dog. So my husband and I, we have 2 young boys. They're 5 and 6 years old. I do have a stepdaughter as well, but she has since moved out. She's an adult. But we have our little family here in Ocean Springs and our giant 85-pound dog.
Yeah, well, I have grandkids that age, and it's not only a challenge, but it is the most amazing daily blessing that you can ever get because they personify out of the mouth of babes, and
they're just hilarious.
It's a sweet time, isn't
funny.
it?
Yeah,
it's a sweet time. Well, you used to have a blog in Florida called. Say it again.
Food, Booze, and Hiccups.
Food, Booze, and Hiccups. And it actually became a catering business, sort of a pop-up catering business opportunity for you guys that's doing really well. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So like you said, it started as a blog. We just kind of wanted an outlet, something to talk about all the things we love. Food, booze, and our kids are the hiccups. So it kind of fit perfectly. And as we came over to Ocean Springs and we worked at a couple restaurants around town. And then once we decided that we just wanted to do our own thing and really follow what we truly believed in terms of local farms, local produce, local pottery, local everything, we took that name. We needed a catering name and we figured it fit. So we stuck with Food, Booze, and Hiccups for that. And moving into like this season, for example, we're slammed. We're completely blessed. We love what we're doing downtown. We do dinners on the beaches. We're going to people's houses. We're going to event venues. It's a lot of fun.
Wow, that sounds so cool. The food, tell me about your food.
So we design every single menu per event. So we never repeat a menu. We will never repeat the same. We'll take some of the same ingredients, of course, but we'll never repeat that same menu for someone else or that same dish. So we get our list from our local farms on the weekend. We order our stuff as locally as we can. We do like to bring in some exotic stuff, whether it be octopus or scallops or things we can't get here. But if it's coming out of the ground in Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, Florida, or Georgia, we're serving it.
Listen, we have little time left, but give your plea to why people should spend their money locally.
Yeah, so spending money locally is not just good for everybody else's pockets around here. We're all small business owners. We're all trying to make it, keep our heads above water, but it really keeps your money in your city. If you want to see growth in your city and in your town, you should support your town and your locals that are here. You know, we like to shop as local as we can, but it's really nice to see other people kind of take that thanks and give it around as much as they can to their local businesses as well.
Whether it's through your catering business, Food, Booze, and Hiccups, or through your Sweet Enchantment business, through the pastries and cakes and other things that you do there, you're working to create very creative competitive advantage that makes it something you can't get anywhere else. And that's what's beautiful about doing this locally, is to having that extreme, all this experience that you've had throughout your career, teaching culinary arts, participating as a bakery, as a pastry chef, and having all those experiences and letting it all sort of culminate in these businesses in a way that exceed people's expectations. This is why we have to do it. And again, you sort of went right past it, but a family of four, you've got your requirements as a family, and it's important for you to have economic success. Yeah. And here on Coast Vue, we're going to do everything in our power to support that. It's been a pleasure to spend some time with you today, Stephanie.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for having me on, and definitely thank you for spreading the word for everybody to shop local and keep their money in their city.
Hey, one of the things that we at the beginning of the show, she had actually a client come in while she was starting the show, and that's why I said that's kind of part of the authenticity of the show. She's literally in her shop as we speak.
Yeah, we're closed, and they were knocking on the door and looking through the window. So how can we say no?
Well, Stephanie, you have a wonderful personality, a beautiful smile for people who are watching on YouTube and Facebook. And I really hope that people will watch this conversation, listen to it on the radio, and share it with their friends, because it's a great statement about what you're doing to create sort of this uniqueness in the sense of place that makes Ocean Springs so special. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful visit. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.